Defining any word is nearly impossible without some kind of context to put it in, or some kind of a method to approach it with. Free will is especially difficult. Um, Maybe the best way to start would be to say what it isn't. And what it isn't is some mental space where one can put life on pause and then examine all the possible choices one could make in the situation that one has just paused oneself out of, or sort of stepped away from in order to consider in the mind what one should do. Um, that's too metaphysical for us to take seriously. There's no um, mental stuff in here or mental place somewhere where I or my consciousness could uh, disappear into to deliberate on how best to control the body and things that the body can manipulate in the world. Um, there's no time or space for that kind of an activity, so free will definitely isn't that. Um, Free will is part of our ongoing activity of being a body in a world, if it is anything. Um, and in that context, taking physics, chemistry, and biology seriously, but also taking culture, society, psychology seriously. I think free will just becomes one side of a pole, and the opposite of freedom is determinism, and they both exist kind of like the North and South Pole. You couldn't have a globe without two poles. Um, you can't have a front without a back, an up without a down, an outside without an inside, and so on. Um, you can't have freedom without determinism. So, whatever free will is, it doesn't exist in the absence of something determined. I made a comment in one of your other videos about free will, that I think of this polar relationship between freedom and determinism kind of like I think of sports. When you play ice hockey, if there aren't certain rules that you have to abide by in the game, and there aren't referees to whistle penalties, then the game quickly begins to fall apart and disintegrate, because there is no way to measure skill, really. It becomes a free-for-all. There's so much freedom for the players to do whatever the hell they want to do on the ice that the game loses all structure and it becomes impossible to know how to play. So every game needs rules, just like every life needs certain preconditions in order to be characterized as a life at all. So whatever free will is, it exists in a relationship with determinism. So in this context, it kind of, I would think, naturalizes free will. So we no longer have to associate free will with some kind of a God-given metaphysical quality, a soul or anything like that. We can just equate it with something that it is like to be alive. But I've still only given negative definitions or very vague descriptions of what free will may be, to actually nail it on the head and really point to exactly what free will is difficult, if not impossible. But I think the reason may be because I can only describe it or define it in terms of determinism. Because without both of these poles, freedom and determinism, existing in our conceptual minds, there's no sense to be made of either of them. So it's a weird paradox, I guess. Um, Man, I don't know if this added anything to the discussion on free will or not, but I'll just leave it at that for now.